Okay, so how can I control my shunt DC motor? I would like to control its speed. How can I do this? If we look at our relation here for omega, you can see we have different options. We can control V terminal. By changing V terminal, I can change omega. Also, you can change phi or the magnetic flux by controlling the resistance. If you control resistance, you can control the field current, which means you can control the excitation. Okay, you can also change the resistance of the armature, which will lead to change in omega. So these are the three: armature voltage control, field control, and armature resistance control. Now, as you can see that as V terminal increase, omega will increase. As the field increase, magnetic flux increase, omega itself will start going down. So as field increase, speed will go down. As also the resistance increase, the negative sign increases, means that omega will drop down. So as the resistance of the armature increase, speed goes down. Now let's look again at each option and draw the figures. So control of the terminal voltage. As the terminal voltage can be controlled by several methods. How can I control V terminal? How can I change it? You can, number one, add a potential divider, which of course is a bad idea because it leads to power losses. Now what I mean by potential divider, so let's say we have a DC source, VDC. And these are the two terminals of our supply. And instead of connecting it directly to our supply, we can add a resistance here, like this, okay, like this. So by changing this value of the resistance, we can change the V terminal across our motor, okay. However, the problem of this idea is that when you add a resistance, you have power losses, right? Okay. Another option is that you can add another DC generator. Remember that when we said the word Leonard method in the previous section for our DC generators, we said that we can add a DC generator driven by an induction motor, and by controlling the output of the DC generator we can control V terminal of our motor, and hence we can control the speed of our motor. Of course, this is an expensive method because you will need a DC generator and an induction motor. The third method is that using a rectifier. What I mean by rectifier, which we will learn in our course for power electronics, is simply a conversion from AC, an alternating current, similar to the one which you found in your own house, into DC, or like the one which we need here in our DC machine. Okay, so this is a rectifier. AC to DC converter. It can be a three-phase rectifier or a single-phase rectifier. All of this discussed in our course for power electronics. Okay, great. Now another thing that we can do is that we can use something which we call DC shoppers. What does DC shoppers do? They convert DC from one value into another value of DC. It can be a step up, step down DC shoppers. Also, we have another type which is called buck converter, boost converter, and buck boost converters. All of this are in our course for power electronics, okay? So if you would like to learn about these types, you can go to our course for power electronics, okay? Okay, so let's get back here first. As you can see that at zero torque, this is very important. So we plotted one curve like this, V terminal, like this, okay? And we have a certain value at omega at torque equal to 0, okay? This is very important. When torque equal to 0, omega will be V terminal over K phi. So as V terminal increase, omega will increase, or the zero point here will go up like this. So you can see the whole curve shifted upwards like this. Okay, so as V terminal increase, it will be like this, go up. Okay, so this one V terminal 1 greater than V terminal 2, and you can see that the zero torque point shifted upward. This is important, as you will see another type at which it will not change. Okay, now the other method is controlling field flux. By controlling field, you can control speed. But before we see the field flux, how can I know the operating point? So this is the torque speed characteristics. Let's say this one for simplicity. This is the torque speed characteristics for our shunt motor. Okay, the intersection of our shunt motor torque speed characteristics with the torque speed characteristics of our connected load, the intersection between them gives us the operating point. So this intersection here, this is the point, the torque and the speed at which we are working with. Okay, what about field flux? As you can see that the more field we have, the lower the curve, right? So as you can see, as flux increase, omega will drop down. Okay, even at a zero torque, you can see that as flux increase, omega goes down. So that's why you can see this is a first curve. As we increase flux, IF2 greater than IF3, or increase field current, you can see that the curve goes down. IF1, IF2, IF3. Okay, great. Now there is a very important part here regarding this type. Now look at this figure here, this equation here for the field control. Now let's say we are not connecting any kind of load. The torque equal to 0. We don't have any kind of load here. Okay, great. We don't have any load. Okay, what will happen is that our equation will be like this, will be omega equal V terminal over K phi. Omega equal V terminal over K phi or KFIF, depending on changing or substituting phi with current. It is exactly the same but a different constant. So what is the problem here? The problem is that at zero torque, no load connected, and at the same time, if we suddenly make IF equal to 0, we make it an open circuit for any kind of reason, what will happen is that omega will go to infinity, right, or be very, very large. So you can see that anything divided by 0 gives us infinity. So you can see that V terminal over 0 gives us infinity, which is a very dangerous situation. Why? Because this very large space can damage the mechanical bearing, and since also we don't have any induced EMF, the armature current will be very high. I armature in the motor will be V terminal minus IE over R. Okay, V terminal, since it is our supply, minus E over R, armature. If the field is open circuit, means IF equal to 0, it means that there is no induced EMF, right, equal to 0. So E equal to 0. This will lead to V terminal over RF, which means very, very high current or extremely high current. I armature will be very large, which can damage our armature conductors. That's why it's very important in shunt generator that we have to connect a load, and at the same time we don't make the field circuit open circuit, because this will lead to this dangerous situation. Now we have armature resistance control, the last method, RA, controlling R armature. As you can see that as we increase resistance, the omega will go down. So as we increase resistance, as we add more resistance, as you can see here, you will find that the curve will start going down. Okay, our armature increases, curve going down. But you will find something here which is different. You can see that they are not as before. If you remember the previous figure, omega and torque, it was like this, right? Like this. However, for our armature, we start at one specific point. So it will be like this: go down here, go up, down, whatever it is. Okay, so at the same point. Why at the same point? Because as you can see that when torque equal to 0, omega m will be v terminal over k phi. Now as you can see in this equation, we don't have any RA, right? So the zero torque point is constant regardless of the value of RA. If you increase R armature or drop it down at a zero torque, it will be the same point, right? Okay, the same exact point. That's why the curve changes starting after torque equal to a certain value. Okay, it drops down, but as you can see, drops down, but it starts at the same point. However, in the other curves we had like this point it changed because as you can see we have V terminal here and we have flux here, which will change the zero torque point. Okay, I hope it's clear for you. The problem again of any resistance method is that we will have efficiency, or the efficiency will start decreasing due to power losses in the resistance. Last point for shunt DC motor is that the armature reaction effect. Now, as we know that there is a very good thing about armature reaction here in the shunt DC motor. Now, as you can see that as the torque increase, omega will drop down, right? Like this. Like this, we have our omega and torque, so it goes down like this. Okay, like this. However, due to the presence of armature reaction, remember that what does the armature reaction do? When IA increase due to increase in our load, okay, what happens exactly? What happens exactly that when I armature increase, torque increase, right? And at the same time, when I armature increase, armature reaction increases, means that the flux from the armature increases, leading to phi resultant will go down, or the field flux will decrease. So what will happen in this case? So in our characteristics, our speed goes down with torque, right? However, due to armature reaction, it will lead to reduction in phi, right? Meaning that this reduction will lead to omega going up. Okay, that's why instead of having this curve with no armature reaction, it will be a little bit higher with armature reaction. That's why you can see that the speed does not change much with the change of torque. That's why we call this type of machines, the shunt motor, as a constant speed motor, because its speed does not change much. The armature reaction, and at the same time by controlling field flux, we can have constant speed for our generator, for our motor.